So, a bunch of questions came up regarding how to acquire certain items and how to craft certain items. I'm going to give you my rundown on how I would do it, but keep in mind I'm not like a crafting master or anything at all. So people are going to correct me in the comments probably wherever I'm wrong. I'm just going to give you the rundown what I would do. Everything in regard to my specific item sets I put into my specific guide. So yeah, you can obviously use whatever items you want. You can optimize here and there how much you want. Still, I'm going to talk about these like specific sets that I actually have in the POB. Right, so we're going to do two parts here. First one is I'm going to talk about the big items, the ones that actually need real crafting. And after that, we're going to go over the smaller items and more basic acquisition methods. That's like the one item you really, really want to craft, or I really want to craft. That's like the one big craft I put into the scope of the guide still, so you can craft something cool. At the end, there's an entire crafting video on how to do this, right? The basic rundown for experienced players is obviously, you probably already know, it's like the method of fractured life, spamming essence for spell suppression, and then doing suffixes cannot be changed, into reroll chaos to get guaranteed chaos resistance. Then your suffixes are done. Then you do again, suffixes cannot be changed. Iceling unveil, block something, unveil the thing with 10% maximum life, and then craft the last thing. On the way, this can obviously break and you need to annul, and yeah, then you need to start over. So expensive item, crafting video there. Same you can use as an endgame crafting method for gloves, but it's unlikely that crafting them yourself is cheaper than buying at this point in the league. So same method, it's also in the video. Same for boots, so very similar method, or the base method of getting fractured life, spamming for the suffixes, and then using harvest to get the third suffix, and then finishing off. But these are the like super endgame items, and there's a video there. Everything else is gonna be basic crafting methods and acquisition methods. So if you're an experienced player, there's probably after this point nothing new. You won't learn anything. Stay if you feel like it, but there's no surprises. They're just basic acquisition methods. So let's go over this in case you're wondering about anything else and how to progress on that. Obliteration wand, super cheap wand, has a divination card, can drop everywhere, or anywhere basically, so you can just drop it on the ground. It's quite a common item. And yeah, if you need to target farm it, go delving. And divination card drops in like chests and stuff that are in the darkness, like behind walls, or the ones like on the side on your tracks, right? Not really on the nodes, it feels like. It's like somewhere on the way you need to collect them. Should be easy to get. If you can't get the Obliteration wand yet, then use any wand, right? You can vendor craft a +1 physical wand, all physical thing wands by selling physical tagged skill gems and maybe also support gems, who knows, gems. And they need to, the quality, the sum of the quality needs to be high enough. You can Google the actual recipe, but just get the wand. That's basically it. And until then, just use a white wand if you want to. For shield or any item here, I'm going to go over all of them. They're all essentially just life and resists, right? So that's all you want there. And you can obviously get it by using random essences that have either get life or get resistance. You should pretty quickly get the same with harvest. You could use harvest for that if you wanted to, but it's probably not worth it money-wise. Get anything that has life and resist. You don't need these specific ones here, right? You just need some, and you also don't need that much. Like, we are completely overcapped in resistance with this gear set, right? It's just a reminder. I don't want you to get anything else on your item but life and resist. If it doesn't have that, throw away the item. Also make sure it has a good base, right? A high level base, so it has a lot of armor and evasion values. That's really important. So you don't have like really bad items and then you don't have any defenses. Don't do that. In terms of chess piece, for me, 2 stages. First, get a 5 link. Can be corrupted, can be whatever. Just make sure it has 5 links and it has life, at least. Resist can be placed anywhere else. If it has resist, cool. Just life and 5 link. Done. Next step, pretty much probably an hour later, get a 6 link. Please don't get a tabular. Tabulars are horrible. Get a corrupted 6 link, right? If you can't afford one yet, wait for them to get cheaper, farm more currency, and just stick to a 5-link for a while. You're okay on a 5-link, but get a corrupted 6-link that has high amounts of life. That's enough. Ideally, it also has some resistance, right? They get really cheap very quickly. That's for the chess piece, like 2 stages, 5-link, 6-link. We talked about these. Deerstalkers, also a great alternative if you can get them. Cool, should be super cheap. You also have a high chance of just dropping them. I don't think you can target farm them, but they will just drop, probably, right? Or they will be easy to buy. If not, just change your links according to the skills, and you're just gonna have a 4-link instead of a 5-link on your clear, and you're gonna be okay. Amulet, the only really important thing about this amulet are 2 important things. You want to have intelligence, maybe some strength is also really helpful, because keep in mind this early on, you don't have all these strength nodes yet. So you need some strength somewhere, but int really important there. Life and resist if you can, but make sure it has int. And you are gonna allocate toxic strikes, right? You need a crimson oil for that. Might take a day until people actually have enough of these oils to sell to you, but will be quick, super, super cheap anoint. Just anoint an amulet that gives you some attributes. Rings, life and resist. Belt, make sure you get a heavy belt, because it really helps again with the strength requirements. Life and resists, right? It doesn't need to have double strength. It's cool if it does, but if not, it's totally fine. Just get some strength because you need it. Flask and not yet important there. If you then move towards phase 2, you have this shield here. I don't think you can actually target farm it. You can chance it or gwen it somehow. Also, I don't know, did I mention that you can use rock crafting for this? Obviously, if you already can. Life and resist stuff, rock. Really good at this, right? So, shield should be super cheap. And typically, after a day or 2, it's a 1 chaos item. Before that, it's like 5 to 10 chaos maybe. So, it should be incredibly cheap. If you can't get it yet, you only need it in combination with this helmet anyway, right? So, just wait. There will be supply. The helmet itself, you can target farm this by doing Katarina kills, which is betrayal league mechanic. That's the veiled dude, right? That gives you these stupid veiled items that you always have to unveil. That's the mechanic. Just do it, spam it, and then at some point you're gonna go to Katarina and she drops this thing, so it can be target farmed. Make sure the one you buy is already unveiled, and it does have the line some % increased duration of ailments you inflict while focused. You need one with this line. Don't take any other one. Just wait if you can't afford these ones, because they might be a bit more expensive. This is like end of phase 2, so you can just keep farming with life tapped gear on essentially a 5-link. You're totally fine. Just save up to this. Other than that, it's the only way to acquire it, either buy it or from Katarina. Don't think there's any other source I know of. We're still working our 6-link corrupted. I already talked about how to craft these gloves here, but that's somewhat expensive. Rock might be your friend, or you just buy them off the market cheaper. But it's a good point at the end of phase 2 to get good gloves already. Same, or not same with boots actually here. We still have the spell suppression boots, rock crafting, or just buying them. And it has a low amount of spell suppression. It has life resist and no movement speed. You can buy these boots without movement speed on them very cheaply. Craft movement speed yourself. Amulet, same, intelligence, toxic strikes, plus whatever you can get. Ming's Heart. I don't think you can target farm this. I wouldn't know how. I believe it drops everywhere, so either you drop it or you're most likely gonna buy it. If you can't afford it yet, fine, use a different ring. Maybe use one that already has some chaos resistance and has life, right? Maybe no elemental resistance, so you don't struggle with swapping it on off later. Custom hit rings, we might not even want one in the future. I can still imagine a world, even with the nerfs and everything, where we definitely want a curse on hit ring just to automate our curse in normal mapping. I'm not gonna run around and manually curse packs, so I'm pretty sure curse on hit rings are still good and very convenient. Maybe not for bossing, cool, right? But if you want one, of course, buying, they're typically not expensive, especially if they don't have any other useful stat. And I don't need you to get any other stats on them. If yes, cool. If not, fine. Creation yourself. You get a hunter ring base, needs to be hunter. And then you go to harvest and you reroll with chaos. And then you have a high likelihood of hitting a curse. If you hit the wrong one, just sell the ring, right? It's also, by the way, a hideout warrior money-making strategy to create a curse on hit rings. Maybe not this league because people are going to manually curse, but let's see. So yeah, you just reroll chaos and you have a high chance of hitting despair on it, or temporal chains is probably also chaos. I don't actually know, would need to check. Right. Other acquisition method is from Delve, actually. Because there's nodes that say, like, for example, like drops a chaos item or drops a fire item or a lightning item. And these nodes have a high chance of having curse-related on-hit modifiers always related to their respective element, right? If it says like contains fire items, then there are probably a fire curse item in there. There's going to be a chaos item in there. So you're looking for the chaos nodes. If you find them, cool. Quite a good chance you find a ring like this. Which then obviously is not hunter. Like it also exists as a Delve thing. Belt. Especially if you don't go for a leather belt, but for a heavy belt at this stage, right? Getting a triple resist life belt with nothing else, they're not that expensive, right? Can still be a heavy belt. I mean, it could be an ES belt, right? You're just trying to fix your resistance at this point. Should be easy to acquire. Flasks. It's just a life flask. You just spam alterations for the instant recovery when on low life, and then you should be able to beastcraft the bleeding on it. Like there's a beast crafting thing in the menagerie, and then you bench craft used when you start bleeding on it. That's your life flask. Make sure it's a divine life flask. All other flasks here, whenever you craft flasks, please make sure they're actually high enough item level, right? You need to check on Path of Exile what item level you need, but make sure the item level is high enough to actually hit what you want to hit, right? So on utility flasks, you want to alteration spam for gain 3 charges when you are hit by an enemy. 3 charges, not below. If you hit less than 3 charges, then you're just going to retry. The only thing you want is 3 charges. So once you hit that, you bench craft on used when charges reach full and equip the flask. For that moment, you are done. Then you get a second flask of the same type, and you try again, right? Why? Because ideally, at some point, we want to have a flask that has the gain 3 charges and a beneficial effect. But as soon as you already have one that has 3 charges, please use it. Don't roll over it because the suffix is bad. Just don't do that, right? Get it step by step done. The things, it's the same for all of them, but always 3 charges and then benchcraft used when charges reach full. So for the suffixes, like the secondary stat things there, reduced effect of curses is cool, armor is cool, another reduced effect of curses is also cool, and movement speed is also cool. Probably evasion is also fine. Anything useful, get anything useful on those, and that's really cool. Really quick about these jewels here. You can get these. The important thing about this is the 3 to 5% chance to poison on hit. You can alteration spam them for probably roughly 80 to 100 alterations, maybe a bit less. You can spam them yourself. You can also look to buy them. They're probably not very expensive. And ideally later on, obviously, get some life percentage on them. And then you're probably in the space of buying them and not rolling it yourself. If you go to phase 3, obviously already said, crafting guide on how to do this thing. This is the only expensive item I actually want you to craft. At this point, you probably already have this one. If not, at this point in the league, it's cheaper to buy than to craft probably. Boots, same thing, probably cheaper to buy, especially because it doesn't have movement speed again. Amulet, B3 probably easy to buy. Yeah, you can get a better one, obviously, but ideally you're looking for intelligence fixes if you still need intelligence, and some damage mod next to life, and obviously having still toxic strikes allocated to it. This would be a better curse on hit ring if you don't even need them. What I really like on this ring is the minimum endurance charges craft. So make sure you get that one. It just gives you an endurance charge all the time, and I think that's really powerful for such an easy craft. Can also get a better ring, obviously. Belt's still the same. We already talked about that one, and it basically concludes all the gear acquisition. Yes, perfect. I think that's it, right? Also, oh yeah, I mean, there's some secondary gear, right? Or cold iron points. I mean, you're somewhat likely to drop one at some point, and they get really cheap over time, so just buy one, right? Depending on market price. That's for the bossing setup, right? For the bossing setup. Also, in terms of crafting for the bossing setup, either you can get a second pair of boots. Just a reminder, bossing setup is you need a 4 green, right? So either get a second pair of boots that's more suited to bossing or whatever, and have that one be for green, or you could use the syndicate to bring your boots there, color them for green first, right? And then have somebody, or do it yourself with the syndicate stuff, make one of the sockets white, or one or more, so you can just swap the gems, right? That would also be really cool to do. So yeah, I think that actually covers all item acquisition. Is there any other unique thing in here? I don't think there is. Right. Okay, cool. Have a great week, guys. Bye.